Hey everyone, this is Ryan B and welcome to Practical FX Trading, the Euro Pound analysis for December 22nd, 2019, the week of. And we're looking at here to start the large term trend in general for this pair. It goes back to 2008. We see this has really been range trading, right? Ultimate lows, ultimate bottoms. Price right now is really in the middle of this, I don't know, almost 20-year range, if you will. But for our intents and purposes, we're going to be looking at a little bit more short term. I just want to point this out that price last week actually just bounced off of this support and resistance line that goes back a good 10 years. And if we look, zoom in a little closer, we see that it really moved off that line. Giant bullish candle for this pair off of that support line, which means even though if price were to travel back down slightly to it for the moment, I'm feeling really good about this holding. This pair is probably the most affected by Brexit news. The market's having a really hard time figuring out how they feel about it, if it's a positive or negative, right? So, and you see that reflected in some of this movement. So let's go ahead and zoom in and get a little bit closer. Before we draw our trend lines, let's go ahead and zoom in and look at the daily. So this is the weekly. And let's look at our weekly pivots and resistance. So I use a pivot point strategy, weekly pivot points, and this tells us basically road points, points on the map, right? If you will, the road map of where price could move this week. And so we see here sitting currently above the pivot at 84.58, with our first weekly R1 at 86.14. We see this is a pretty strong bullish move. So that giant weekly candle, this is the action within that candle, within the 7 daily candles, and this is pretty bullish, right? So we had a high here, drop to a new low, but then that next candle just eclipsed that, and then really push up forward. And this is also very bullish. While the candle itself is bearish, it's just a consolidation within this giant move upwards. So if I zoom out a little bit, I'm really looking for what happened the last time price was here. Looks like price didn't stay very long. It really kind of shot out of this zone last time it was here. So let's go back to that weekly. Okay, so I'm looking for is some kind of trend channel, some parallel move. It looks like this is our overall trend, right? So price touched this line on the underside back in October of 15, came back down early 2016, and see similar, we have this similar very bullish candle eclipsing its former bearish. We have that here too. It's a big bullish engulfing. And so this week we've got the Christmas holiday. Next week we have New Year's. We have some real light volume in the currency market. So what might happen is price could continue bullish, but I don't think it's going to go too much farther beyond R1 within the next couple of weeks, right? I think for this week, let's go back to our daily. We could see price kind of move around, could retract a little bit back into here, right? Because we just had price run into this 50 moving average, and typically when price dips back into between 20 and the 50, I'll look as a buy or sell signal. But because I really believe in the longer term trend, which is bullish, I'm going to wait for a better opportunity to buy. And I just have a feeling this week, right? So here's our 2020. This is where the 2020 starts in this calendar. I think we'll need to see our next big move up there. So I'm anticipating price to kind of hang out, if you will, between 84.50 and 86 this week. Now, I want to draw a parallel to this bottom trend. I'm going to clone this trend line. Well, it's not working for me to clone. So I'm going to draw one at a similar angle. Because if that is my big trend line, then I'm going to have parallel mirrored trend lines on our smaller time frames. So see how these candle buys finished below this. So we have a horizontal support and resistance, and this is that same support and resistance over time, which represents the trend angle. So by doing that, I'm going to look here, then I'm going to get smaller. My 4 hour, let's get a little bit closer. Okay, so it basically got rid of my trend line, but this is what I need to know. If I'm going to buy, I'm going to put my stops underneath this 84.60 area, though it's a pivot. If I want to be a little bit more conservative, I'll go back down all the way to the 83.60 mark. Here's the thing, this is a pretty fierce uptrend, right? When you have that much velocity, one way or the other, it's usually a good bet that price will continue in the direction of that velocity. So this is the 1 hour. So if I'm day trading, I'm really going to use the 1 hour because that means within the week, I'm going to realize profits or get bumped out, which is better because I want to be out of all my positions by the end of the week. I don't believe in playing the gap, if you will. It's usually not worth it. And then these geopolitical events can happen over the weekend and you're screwed. So here's our 1 hour. We see a trend channel forming. Let's just take that most recent uptick and let's say it's starting to form this hourly trend. If I'm looking to buy, I'm going to put my stops here underneath the 84.61. I can even get a little bit more conservative and put them underneath the 200 moving 200 hour moving average, back to about 84.30 or so. Looks like a good buy though, and because I anticipate trading volume to be light this week, I'm going to probably wait for a better point of entry. So I really want price to come back down to this 85-cent level. That'll look like a good buy. And if price just goes sideways, these moving averages are all going to consolidate, which means breakout's going to come. So I'm thinking, early 2020, maybe even next week, we'll see our next big move up for euro pound. So bullish overall on that in the short term and the long term, but I might need to wait a couple days to get the pullback I want. So if you're interested in getting more euro pound analysis, make sure you tune in every week, subscribe to our channel, click the subscribe button in the bottom right hand corner of your screen. We also have a euro pound playlist you can subscribe to. So every time we do an update on the euro pound pair, you'll get notified in your YouTube dashboard. All right, take it easy. We'll talk soon.